Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Couple of Lattes. As always, I'm your host, Jacques Massey. I want to thank all the new listeners and all the existing listeners. This podcast kind of would almost be somewhat pointless if you weren't listening. So thank you for listening. If you do get the time, something that'll really help is if you leave a 5-star rating and a review. If you're using Apple Podcasts, make sure you subscribe. And please, please, please feel free to share this with as many friends as possible. Anyway, today it is the 30th. So first of all, Merry Christmas. Hope you had an amazing one. I hope you were surrounded by incredible human beings, surrounded by plenty of love, and hopefully you didn't get too drunk beyond belief. If you did, then this podcast is for you. This is Wednesday, 7 a.m., which means today is solutions to your problems. So relevant to the times, I thought I'd go over curing hangovers. So just a little spiel from me before we get too far into the podcast. This is not medical advice. I am not a medical expert, so none of what I say should be taken as such. These are simply things that have worked for me in the past with hangovers and have also been shown through research to positively affect how you feel the next day. And just a little quick note for me, like when it comes to drinking, I tend not to drink very much, and I tend to avoid getting completely intoxicated because I simply cannot really function properly when I'm hungover. And although some of these things that I've mentioned, they really do help me to get through the day, I value my time the next day, so I tend not to get absolutely mind-bendingly drunk anymore. That's not to say I didn't. I have had many benders in my time, and I'm sure that if you're listening to this right now, you've probably done the same. Maybe not, but I think a lot of us have, and Christmas time especially is a time when we tend to overindulge in most things. Anyway, enough of me talking. Let's get into hangovers. So first of all, the easiest solution is to simply not get mind-bendingly drunk. But if you do, well, these are some of the solutions. First of all, let's try and understand why they occur, why hangovers tend to occur. So a hangover may be a form of sleep deprivation as it interferes with brain activity during sleep. It also scrambles the hormones that regulate our biological clocks. This could explain the similarities with jet lag. And when I was reading through this research, I kind of related to it a lot because I've traveled quite a bit, especially in my 20s, throughout my 20s, and I still plan on continuing to travel. And one of the most similar things to having a hangover is essentially that, it's jet lag, and both of which tend to interfere with our body's natural circadian rhythm in terms of when the hormones are released that trigger us to be sleeping. And when we're drinking alcohol, it actually affects those hormones, scrambles those hormones. So you'll tend to find, I don't know if you guys relate to this, but whenever I drink, especially if I'm out late, say 3, 4, 5 in the morning, I still end up waking up at the time I would normally wake up anyway, which ends up leaving me tired and hungover. So our minds tend to get scrambled around when it comes to sleep. So the sleep ends up not being all that great, which probably contributes hugely to the feeling that you get the next day. Anyway, let's get into some cures. So one of the funny ones is the hair of the dog. So if you haven't heard this before, it basically means you have a little bit of booze the following day, the idea being that that'll cure the hangover. There's not really enough evidence to suggest this. There is a few studies that suggest it may help temporarily, but essentially all you're doing is you're just delaying the effects of the hangover, because essentially hangovers occur when your blood alcohol levels begin to plummet, and most of the pain is felt when the blood alcohol levels actually get to zero. So if you're having the hair of the dog, you might be boosting those blood alcohol levels temporarily, but you're basically just delaying the effects. One good one, which you probably all already know and you've already been told before, is to drink water to keep your fluids up. The effects of alcohol often result in dehydration. So essentially, drink more water. It's gonna mean that the following day, instead of being plagued with headaches, nausea, and dehydration, at least you pull the dehydration element out of that. You're nice and hydrated. And that means on the night as well, but I'll get into that later. Another one is to increase your blood sugar levels. So drinking may lower blood sugar levels. Theoretically, some headaches may be caused because the brain is working without enough fuel. So something that might help is, carbohydrates. Although I'm not a big fan of eating a lot of carbs on the day after, the quick release of sugar that you get from eating carbs and maybe pair it with a juice, so toasted juice, could be a really great way to get a bit more energy into the brain so it's functioning at a slightly higher level. Another one that's not 100% proven, like I said, none of these are 100% proven, but they have been shown through studies to help at least. You're still probably going to feel hungover, but these might make you feel a little bit better. Anyway, is B vitamins and zinc. And then a couple of my tips that have worked in the past, which I find really help, I guess psychologically and also from a mindset point of view to put yourself in a better state. So, all right, you've got absolutely sloshed, you didn't expect it, you're feeling hungover. There's two kind of ways you can look at it. You can either look at it like you feel sorry for yourself and you're just going to lay in bed all day and feel terrible and allow the pain and the suffering to overcome you, or you can actually do something about it. So one thing that really helps me is during the night, if I understand I'm going to be hungover, I'll have water between drinks. The following morning, I'll wake up and I'll get moving. So instead of lying in bed and feeling sorry for myself, it's better to actually wake up, get moving, get the body pumping, get the blood pumping. And that's not to say that some days I do allow myself to lie in bed and feel like absolute crap, but I know that the days when I do get up and moving and I do say, you know what, you're hungover, but this is on you, you can do something about this, get up, get moving, and I get things done, I feel a shitload better later on in the day than if I just sit around watching Netflix and feeling absolutely horrific in bed. So those are some of my tips for feeling hungover. So thank you very much for listening to Solutions to Your Problems. Thank you very much for subscribing to the Couple of Lattes podcast. And much love to each and every one of you. Feel free to leave some comments, leave some reviews, and feel free to send me a message on Instagram. Hello again, friend. Thanks for listening to the entirety of that episode. I truly appreciate you tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe on whatever platform you're using. And if you're using Apple Podcasts, huge favor to ask you, can you please leave a 5-star rating, leave a comment, leave a review, and be sure to share this with anyone in your life that you think it'll impact positively. Each and every rating and review that we get on Apple Podcasts helps beat the algorithm and get the podcast out to more people. And I think these conversations are worth sharing. So thanks once again, and we'll see you in the next episode of Couple of Lattes.